Hi, today on Cooking Crave, we are going to bring you a popcorn show. It is going to be awesome, so stay tuned to find out some new recipes for what to do with popcorn. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne.
And today we are going to bring you some popcorn recipes. We are going to start with an awesome popcorn cake. One of my favorite co-workers, Tess Haugen, submitted this recipe. She makes it every year for what we do for Christmas party, and we have a silent, or not really a silent auction, but it always gets bid up, and people pay big bucks for this cake.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And it's so simple. It's really very simple. You start with half a cup of butter, or just a stick of butter, and use butter. Do not use margarine.
Okay.
Definitely there. And then it asks for two 10-pound, I mean not 10 pounds, 2 bags of 10-ounce marshmallows.
Okay.
And I use the mini marshmallows because it's just a little bit easier. And you want them to be nice and fresh. You don't want something that's kind of hard and stale already. So.
And one thing Tess said when making this, she goes, marshmallows do make a difference, so she does recommend Kraft.
Okay. You know, and there is a difference in your brands of marshmallows. I've noticed that too. I always think, well, when you melt it and put it in something, you're not going to notice as much difference, but it does make a difference, even if you're making Rice Krispie bars. So we're going to just put this in the microwave, and I'm going to put it on for about probably about 3 minutes, and that's all it's going to take. We just want it where it's going to melt and but not be boiling or whatever. Okay. So let's just come over and stick it in. I've got a Tupperware bowl that you know, you can put that in the microwave, and make sure whatever you put in the microwave is microwavable safe. You know that. And I'm sure if you didn't have a microwave, you could put that in a double boiler to melt your marshmallows, but it's going to take a lot longer, and who doesn't have microwaves anymore?
That's right.
I mean, you can't hardly live without a microwave. So that's only going to take a very short time, and we can put all that together, and then we're going to do a Cracker Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, and that Cracker Jack recipe is just tastes like good old-fashioned Cracker Jack that we used to have growing up, and you'd get those Cracker Jack boxes. I don't, do they even have that anymore?
I don't know if I actually haven't looked for it, so I can't tell you if they do.
I don't know, but it sure brings back childhood memories with that. So.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And you can just see them marshmallows just puff up. And you know, they don't look like they're all melted, but when you get in there and stir, they will be all melted there, and that butter is all melted also. So just stir that really good, so you get that, all the marshmallows together in there. Then we're going to add 10 cups of popcorn. And you know, if you like, you can add more popcorn if you'd like. If you don't, you know, depends on how what kind of consistency you like. If you really like a heavy marshmallow consistency with that, the recipe calls for 10 cups, but you can certainly add more. And it's just, and not microwave popcorn either. It's supposed to be regular popcorn. Microwave popcorn does definitely have a difference flavor to it. And just stir that up there. And then we're going to add, and this here is going to be so versatile. I'm going to add a cup of peanuts and a cup of M&Ms, and I'm also going to add some gumdrops to this. But you can add whatever you like. You know, you can add any kind of nuts and gumdrops, or, you know, I'm going to just use regular M&Ms. So just whatever you like.
Well, and you know, I think with Easter coming up, or pretty much any holiday, you know, you get colored M&Ms of that season. It certainly would be, you know, it's festive, and this always goes good with kids as well as adults.
Oh, absolutely. So I just already put all this in a bowl. Like I said, I've got a cup of peanuts, a cup of M&Ms, and a cup of gumdrops.
Okay. Just to make it very colorful.
Yes. And you know, a lot of times we just think of popcorn cake at maybe Christmas, but like I said, you know, with the different colors of M&Ms at your, like Easter, and even gumdrops, you know, use more pastel gumdrops rather than, you know, your red and green or whatever you may have.
Or so just think of, you know, that Halloween, but I mean, you've got a lot of different Halloween colors and M&Ms and stuff like that too. So,
and we're going to put this in an angel food cake, but cake pan, and I did butter that. But you know, you could also just put it in a 9x13 pan and cut squares too, just like a Rice Krispie bar versus putting it in a cake. But it just makes it look nice.
Oh, it sure does.
You know, when you put that in an angel food cake pan. So we'll just add that, and then we'll just set that in the fridge for a while just to set up. Normally I would say you don't have to put that in the fridge, but I'm going to do it just so it sets up a little bit faster, so we can, you know, take it out of the pan and show you what that looks like.
All right.
Got to get everything out of here.
All the good stuff again.
That's right. Okay. I'll just use a spatula here. And then I'm going to use my spatula just to kind of press that down a little bit here in that pan. As you can see, marshmallow really is kind of sticky, but
oh,
okay, I'll have you set that in the fridge. Okay, the next thing we're going to make is the Cracker Jack. And with Cracker Jack, with the ingredients, then when we pour that over the popcorn, we put it in the oven, and we need to bake it on a low heat of 200 degrees for about an hour. And you're going to want to stir it every so often, about every 15 minutes. Okay. So let's just go over to the stove here and add our ingredients. I'm going to just put a little extra light on here. First of all, it starts out with 2 cups of brown sugar. And I'm going to just put my burner on here to get that going. It asks for 2 sticks of butter. And then this, once it comes to a boil, we're going to just boil it for 5 minutes.
Okay.
It doesn't take very long.
Now this is a recipe that you got from your sister Ninetta Wandler.
Yes.
And Aunt Nettie is always, she's a good cook.
Yeah, very much so. She's quite a baker too.
Oh yeah.
And she's known around town as a pretty good baker. Now we're going to add now my hands are slick here from the butter. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of molasses. And the molasses is what is going to make the difference in your Cracker Jack. Gives that extra flavoring.
Okay.
Okay, we have our 1/4 cup of molasses. And we have a 1/4 cup of syrup. And I've got the light syrup, but you know, if you happen to have the dark corn syrup, Ninetta said that works well too.
Okay. I suppose does it give it a little bit of different taste if you use light versus the dark?
Well, the dark will give it maybe, you know, with the Cracker Jack, even maybe a little bit stronger flavoring of, you know, with the mixing in with the molasses than light.
Okay.
And then we need a teaspoon of salt. And now we're just going to mix that up here, and it doesn't take long. Already that butter is all melted, and it's gonna get boiling here in just another minute or so, and we'll just, like I said, we just need to boil that for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Does it need to go to any specific temperature?
Nope. This here we're just going to boil for 5 minutes. Okay, our buzzer is going off. We've had it on now for 5 minutes. So let's just bring it over here to the counter, and we're going to add a teaspoon of soda, baking soda to this. and a teaspoon of butter flavoring. You know, that's just a...
And what's the difference between butter and butter flavoring?
Well, we've already got, it's just going to add a little bit more flavoring than what we already have with the butter. It's just an added extra. And that, so let's just stir that up. And that soda just kind of lightens that up a little bit. But you can even just boiling it for 5 minutes, you know, you can see that it has already gotten a little bit thicker, whatever. So we're going to add a cup of peanuts to this too. And I'm just using some Spanish peanuts. You can use anything that you'd like. And as I drizzle this over into our kettle here, I have about 8 cups of popcorn here.
Okay.
Or I shouldn't say 8 cups, 8 quarts. Again, the recipe says anywhere from 8 to 6 cups or quarts of popcorn. It's just, it depends upon how much coating you like on your Cracker Jack there. So as I'm stirring that, I'm going to just have you kind of turn the kettle around a little bit here, rotate it. And it's nice to have a big bowl that you can really mix that in.
Well, not too many people are going to have a ginormous bowl like this. I'm thinking that this was something that came from Grandma, wasn't it?
That's right. This was your grandma's bread bowl. Baked many a batches of bread in this every Friday.
It wasn't for the army, was it?
Well, not quite. We might have seemed like it, and in today's standards, I suppose 10 children would seem like an army.
So you never bought bread? It was always made?
It was always made. Once in a while, you know, we thought it was really a treat when Grandma did buy some bread, and we had bought bread to make toast with. So like I said, you just want to just keep stirring that until it's nice and coated. And then we're going to put that in a roaster, and we're going to put that in the oven then at 200 degrees for an hour. Okay. We're going to bake that. And there, so that's really, and like I said, I have 8 quarts of popcorn here. But if you like a lot more coating on it, I would just do anywhere from 6 to 8. Right. But even with that, I mean, it's pretty well coated.
Oh, sure. Now, there's so many times, like you can make recipes for caramel corn on the back of like popcorn that you might just buy in the store, and they tend to be a little bit stickier. Now, is this something that you have to worry about being sticky?
It won't be sticky at all with baking it. Like I said, for an hour at just 200 degrees, it isn't sticky at all. So that makes it nice. So we're going to just put that in our big roaster here.
From big bowl to big roaster is right.
Yeah. And when you're have that and you're stirring it about every 15 minutes, you kind of want to break up the caramel corn a little bit so you don't have it in big clumps.
Sure.
And it works well when you're turning it that you can do that. So we're going to just there. And like I said, if you don't have a big roaster, use a couple of cookie sheets. And you can use, a couple of both racks in the oven and just alternate it. Or if you have a convection oven, the air is going to flow around very nicely. So, it's going to really bake all the way around.
Okay.
So I'm going to put that in there. And I actually do have a convection oven, so I want to put that convection on. And I'm going to set it for 15 minutes. So it'll remind me just to stir that every 15 minutes, okay?
And again, you bake it for 1 hour.
1 hour, that's
okay.
right.
All right.
Okay. And then we're going to get started with some popcorn balls.
Okay.
This recipe, I had a gentleman was at our Mardi Gras, and he was talking about the cooking show, and he says, I have the best popcorn ball recipe that you've ever eaten. So we want to feature that, and that's from Doug McGilkey.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to start with our popcorn ball mixture here. It asks for a stick of margarine or a half a, well, actually butter, half a cup of butter. And it asks for 2 cups brown sugar. So put that in there. And it asks for a half a cup of honey. So already it's healthy for you.
Oh, yes, because the honey cancels out the butter.
That's right.
But honey is good for you. It's natural sugar.
That it is. Did you know that honey is the only food that does not spoil? You can have honey for years, and that is the only natural food that never spoils.
Wow, that's interesting.
And this year we're going to get that boiling here, and we want the first the half a cup of butter, 2 cups of brown sugar, the half a cup of honey, and a half a cup of light corn syrup. We're going to bring that to a boil. Then once that comes to a boil, we're going to add a can of condensed milk.
Okay.
And then we need to, that's going to come to a boil, to a soft boil stage or soft ball stage. And on my candy thermometer, soft ball stage is 240 degrees.
Okay.
So, okay, now all our ingredients there have come to a boil, so let's add our condensed milk. And because, you know, like with condensed milk, it can burn fairly easily, so you're going to want to watch this real closely so it doesn't burn.
Okay.
I'll get that in there and just get that mixed good. And then I'm going to add my candy thermometer so we can bring that to a soft ball stage of 240 degrees.
With the candy thermometer, it kind of takes the guesswork out of it.
Yes.
Especially if you don't do it, you know, on a daily basis almost.
Yeah. And I've got one here that it's nice, you can see the numbers right on top, and it's a lot easier to read than your glass thermometers.
Okay.
So we're going to just put that on medium heat and stir that every once in a while until it gets to 240 degrees. Okay, it's almost to that softball stage here, and like I said, we've pretty much been stirring it the whole time, just because with that condensed milk it can burn really easily. But you know, if you're not lucky enough to have a candy thermometer, you know, you can take a little bit of your mixture and put it in cold water, and then just see now that looks like, yeah, that's about the right consistency for a softball stage. So like I said, that was our method of, you know, working with candy growing up, but you know, the candy thermometers just make less guesswork.
Well, and if you don't make a lot of candy, you know,
you don't really
a candy
need,
thermometer might be better, so you just don't ruin things.
Yeah.
But the water test sure is a good
old-fashioned method. That's
Definitely.
right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and drizzle this over the popcorn, and what I would like you to do is kind of stir it, just kind of turn the bowl a little bit, and so we can get the popcorn nice and coated. It always helps when you have another pair of hands. And when you're doing this, and it's going to take just a little bit for that candy to, you know, cool so you can handle that. I'm going to just turn that here, but I've got a lot here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get a spatula and get that all out here. And just keep stirring that and getting it nice and coated. Okay.
I just think all the fiber that's in here just outdoes all the sugar that we've put in.
Well, and got to remember we've got that honey in here too, so.
Well, then it's good for you. Yes. This is good for you. This is not a snack. Nope. It's a healthy dish.
Yeah, popcorn is, like you said, good fiber, and you know, it's just a nice little extra treat than the normal, you know, having hot buttered popcorn. And really want to, you know, thank Doug McGalkey for giving us this idea, because, you know, when he said he had this great popcorn recipe, popcorn ball recipe, it gave us the idea of having a popcorn show.
Yes.
So that looks like that is nicely coated there. Okay. So that's a little bit hot yet, so we just want to leave that cool just a couple of minutes here so we don't burn ourselves.
And we started with how much popcorn again?
It was 10 quarts.
Okay, so.
And that just really coated that really nicely.
So if you do not have a big bread bowl from Grandma, small bathtubs work.
Okay, well, it just might. You know, Doug had actually said when he makes it, he cleans out his sink really good and puts it in his sink because he doesn't have a bowl big enough. And, you know, that'd be great. You put it on the side where you have the garbage disposal, and then when you're all done, hey, you can clean that up and let it rinse down the sink. I thought that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
We may not think that's another bowl that you don't have to, you know, wash.
Definitely.
Okay. You know, while this is cooling, I think the buzzer's just about ready to go off for us just to turn around our Cracker Jack here.
Okay.
So I'm going to just put that up for another 15 minutes, and we're going to take that out. And I've just got a big turner here, and just turn it over, just kind of break it up a little bit. And by the time you're done in an hour, that's all just nice and you know, broken apart. There's not a lot of clumps or anything. So like I said, when you're turning it, just kind of break it up a little bit.
And a lot easier to do. You know, you have a big roasting pan here, but again, like you said, you can certainly do it on baking sheets.
Yes.
Works just as well.
That it would work well there too. Okay, I'll have you open that oven up there. And let's just go ahead and try this, you know, popcorn here. We're going to butter our hands a little bit here because that's going to be a little bit hot. And, you know, you can make your popcorn balls to about this, you know, any size that you want. Just take a little bit and just squeeze that together, and it just really sticks together nicely. But once it starts to cool, you're going to want to work fairly fast because then it may not want to stick together as good. So my favorite growing up too was popcorn balls.
Well, we've got our cake out of the angel food.
Yep,
popcorn
our
cake.
popcorn cake.
It just looks
doesn't
wonderful.
That look good?
And these, again, work wonderful as gifts.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Raise good money at Christmas auctions. Thank you, Tess Haugen, for submitting that recipe.
Okay.
And these wonderful popcorn balls, Doug McGilkey here in Dickinson,
Okay.
and Ninetta Wandler with the Cracker Jack recipe. Thank you so much for submitting your recipes to Cook and Crave today. And please, if you have a recipe for us to cook for you, go to Consolidated's website, www.ctctel.com, so we can cook them for you. And thank you so much to The Worst Shop for being our sponsor. Have a great day.
Thank you.